My name is Laurent Martin, and I'm originally from Los Angeles, California. Transplanted to the Bay Area shortly after that for university, and it was just after that that I started working in tech as a project manager for a tech marketing company doing web and marketing projects as well as marketing strategy. And at the same time, my education is in music as an opera singer. And so I also worked professionally as a singer and opera stage director, and then later graduated with my master's degree from New England Conservatory of Music. Been living in Germany since 2008 and Berlin since 2010, so working as an opera singer mostly. And about 3 years ago is when I met my co-founder Jarno, and we started doing performances with Aitokaiku in galleries and bars all around Berlin. So Jarno approached me and said this technology that audiences had enjoyed so much in our live performances was something that we could bring to consumers on their mobile device, and that there were other co-founders ready to do the design and technical architecture for us. And so I knew right away that it was going to be a hit, and we've been doing it ever since. Jarno is our CEO and the one who came up with the entire concept of Aitokaiku and brought us on this crazy adventure. Just about 8 years ago is when he first started experimenting with Aitokaiku. Myself as Chief Marketing Officer, but also working really closely with Jarno to develop Aitokaiku into a company that supports the technology and also a product which really brings out the best possible characteristics of that we can bring consumers. Our other two founders are in Helsinki. Our CTO is Matti Sadia, who is a really unusual and esoteric sort of guy, as a lot of really great programmers are. And he really is extremely talented and works on global projects as a software consultant, doing really backbone architecture stuff for really massive interdisciplinary sort of projects. And so he's a really great person to have on the team because his thinking is that sort of big concept, open-ended way of problem solving, and not just really task-oriented, but concept-oriented. And that can be a rare thing to find sometimes, and we're really lucky to have him. Our Chief Design Officer is Jana Itapiri. Jana understands really well the business climate of how to turn designs and user experience into something that is sellable, but also has this artist side to him as well that really wants to do something creative and exciting with Aitokaiku, and that's something we need from everyone on the team. Outside of that, we are really lucky to be in Berlin, because Berlin is a great place to find software developers who are DJs on the weekend. I mean, simply put, that these people they are here in the city to be part of its musical life. And so that is something, like I said, that we really require from everyone on the team, that they have this creative side to themselves, that they're not just solving problems, but that they see the technology we're building as a way to be expressive and a way to connect people with music. Aitokaiku, the literal translation is authentic echo, and that I think really does a great job of describing what this is, what the technology is. It is the real, true sounds and music coming back to you from your world. I don't think I want to answer that question maybe from the business side, but maybe more from the artistic side, and say that I think I approach this, and we all approach this maybe more like an instrument maker. And so certainly there are goals that an instrument maker might want to achieve technically, like creating an electric guitar which can play with a drum set or a loud band and still be heard. That's a great goal, but that's not really what that instrument does, what that technology does. It is something that people are able to be expressive with, and something that listeners have an emotional bond with. And I think for us, certainly there are technical goals that we have, but the big overarching goal is to create something that makes meaningful music that people really connect to and form a bond with. So reactive music, to me, as a musician, is sort of all music, because the music that I perform is always live, it's unamplified, there's nothing between me and the audience. And so I'm always reacting to the energy in the room, my colleagues, how I felt that day, and that's how I sort of see music making. And reactive music in the context of Aitokaiku is a way that we can create that feeling with technology, and that feeling that the music that was created belonged to that day, in the same way that you go to a concert and say that happened for me. I had that genuine experience of music in that moment. So for me, Aitokaiku is a way to do that all day, every day, and have that relationship with music that I think musicians enjoy. And what makes Aitokaiku different? Everything about Aitokaiku is a different way of thinking about music than traditional music technology. I would say that we put the user first, and that is very different. Traditional music technology is pretty much all based around recorded music in one way or another, of listening to it or remixing it, and not of actually generating and creating it. That is usually something that is reserved only for experts with a lot of training and a lot of practice. And so this is something that has a completely different view, and the view is not about recorded music or something that happened in the past or something someone else created for you. It really is about something that you can do, and it's an empowering technology to create music, and something that democratizes that music making and takes it sort of out of the realm of specialists to be able to create something personal without a lot of expertise. So the experience of Aitokaiku, I think for me the most important thing that I want users to feel with it is to feel a sense of ownership and connection. So it's hard to say, anytime somebody is creating a piece of art that, I want someone to have a specific feeling. More than anything else, I want, theme creators to feel like it's a way that they can be expressive and that they can be creative in their own world and using their own tools. The thing I love most about the Aitokaiku experience is that it is chaotic and unexpected. And even when I am testing this and I think I'm familiar with what it's doing and what is supposed to come out of it, I find myself in experiences where I'm enjoying it where I didn't think I was, or it is reacting to things which I didn't expect, specifically, a car alarm that kind of all of a sudden something sounded really great. And I had to take off the headphones, realize what it was. Another bizarre experience was my wife came in the office to start talking to me, and she got really frustrated of like, why do you always turn on the music when I start talking to you? And I had to explain, like, no, that's just Aitokaiku. It reacts to you. Like, the more excitement you come into this room with, the more it's going to bring it up even more. And she's like shouting because the music was going up. And so these are like these unintended experiences. We're not sitting in a room thinking like, well, what happens when somebody comes in and, unexpectedly starts talking to you? How should it react? And so I think that for me is the excitement of taking it into new places, introducing new people to it, and seeing what it's going to do. What makes Aitokaiku unique is that we are not interested in someone else's experience. I think we are really genuinely invested in making sure that the user feels that everything that they do with it is unique. Our customers, really, it spans to anyone who listens to music. And I think that's really important for us to understand and not to limit it to anything less than that, because it has that kind of potential and that kind of freedom and flexibility. I don't think in that sense that there's an unmet need for customers that they perceive. I think Aitokaiku restores a more natural relationship with music, something that I think a lot of musicians feel, and that I think in a lot of musical cultures that does not separate so much between specialist and music participant. specialist and listener, where it's more participant and a more sort of equal democratic way of making music. So I think maybe I think that the unmet need is breaking down that wall. I think talking about how the business will make money is short-sighted. Any business that creates value will create money, and we're very fortunate to have businesses that want to pay for the value that we create for them. I think our consumers will do the same, and our options are open of how that's supposed to look. And I think we are actively trying to find ways to monetize that are as unique as the product we're selling. We do not want to be selling something in a way that invites the comparison between existing technologies and existing music, because what we have is so different. I think Aitokaiku's strengths and weaknesses are the same thing, and that's that it's a very unique and different way of creating and listening to music. So that means it has excellent potential to be exciting and to do something people haven't thought of before. It also means that people will have to have an open mind for it. And with music, we tend to like the kinds of things we've always liked. And so we're asking our new users to try something very different and open their minds, and that can be a challenge. Yeah, I would say, opportunities for Aitokaiku is part of that chaos and part of that unexpected. So I don't think that the Aitokaiku team is going to be the one that are going to find the true potential of the product. I think it's going to be users somewhere else. It's going to be other artists and theme creators. I think once we have this out into the wild, our users are going to show us what the potential of it is, and that's very exciting potential for me. I think in terms of weaknesses, what I said about asking people to have an open mind is very difficult, and this is going to be a product that matures and changes and is going to be in different parts of your lives as we expand it to be part of IoT and devices and things like that. And so we might be fitting into people's lives where they haven't had music or this type of music. And so anytime you ask people to do something new, there's a risk. It's my hope that in 5 years we have brought the awareness of this type of music into the mainstream, and within the music community it's seen as a way, or as a place that people can create things. From a consumer perspective, it's seen as something that is very personal, and from a business perspective, it's a way that people can reach out to consumers with a message and reach them in a very personalized, emotional way. Oh yeah, there's always more. This is actually a really good case study for how Aitokaiku works, because these are all the sounds that your brain naturally it never comes into your awareness. It's the cocktail party effect. You always hear the person talking to you, even in a really loud environment. And Aitokaiku turns these things that you're not hearing, that microphones hear, into really perceivable, fun music things. And I think it's funny because when we do these recordings or try to create something without Aitokaiku, all of a sudden these other distractions come into view. And that's, I think, part of what we're trying to do with Aitokaiku is convert those things from distractions into things that are actually enhancing your life and not taking away from what you're doing. And that, I think, is kind of an exciting, magical part to this, especially when you live in a city and there are lots of those distractions and things in your environment, like we're hearing now.